I'd like to introduce John Knapp. John's going to take over the screen here, and hopefully we can get this, get the sound to work. If not, there's plenty of chairs right up next to the computer. You can come up and hear that. But John is Executive Director for the Thompson Free Library. We've had him present here to the club in the past. And John's going to talk to us about a new project the library has in conjunction with the Historical Society to help get archived copies of the Piscataquis Observer, archived and readable copies of the Piscataquis Observer online. So, John, why don't you take it away here?
Okay, can everyone hear me? Is the sound working?
I'm not at home on my computer. Is that you there? Yeah, that's me.
So we're gonna just start talking. We're gonna adjust the volume as we can.
Okay, yeah, just let me know when we're good and when everyone can hear me all the way in the back.
That's good.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, he's gonna present and take over the screen.
Okay. So let me go ahead. I'm going to share my screen. I have a little PowerPoint to go through here. So basically, some of you already probably know that we have, with the help of the Historical Society, put the Piscataquis Observer and some of the earlier papers. There were 3 or 4 papers in the 1830s and 40s which preceded the Observer that we also have online, digitized on our website. If you don't know about that, I can show you how that works here in a second. But this is actually the first issue of the paper from 1838. And I believe this is the Herald, though I'm probably going to get that wrong because I've been working all day. So this is the first issue of the newspaper, and this is the first issue of any newspaper in Piscataquis County. And what you see on the left here is what it looks like on our website. This image with the lines going all across it. And on the right is what the actual paper in our basement looks like. It's a lot clearer of a copy than what we have. And the reason for all of those lines that are on there is because this was made from microfilm. So if you used microfilm back in the day at libraries, that's what all of these images that are on the website are made out of. And a lot of, hold on a second. Steven might need to mute. Oh, he's muted now. So all of the images that are on our website are made from the microfilm that we have here at the library. The problem with that is that they've been used for 20, 30, 40 years before we put them on the website. That's where all these lines come from. They're just from going through the microfilm machine, which makes them hard to read for people, but it's even harder for a computer to read. And I'll show you how that comes into play in a second. So first, a little bit about my experience with digitization and OCR. My first job in libraries was actually with a historical newspaper project, getting everything scanned online, trying to get everything preserved for the county that I grew up in. So this is something I've been working with for 17, 18 years at this point. And I also, at my last job, I was a subcontractor for the patent office, where we received all of the patents for the entire country, and we would have to edit all of the text so that you could read them online and you could use them in, multi-million-dollar court cases. And this is just an image from one of those patents, and you can see that sometimes there are problems with the images on them as well. So this is something I've been working with for almost 2 decades, even though day to day I'm just running the library here in town. So why all of this OCR and this digitization is relevant to us? This paper that's on the left here is a copy of a paper from 1986, and you can see the lines going across the screen. And when the computer reads those in, this is actually what it looks like if you look below that. So everything that is red is completely wrong. Everything that is orange is kind of sort of wrong. So you can see that at least 75–80% of this page did not scan in correctly. And that's mostly because of there being lines across it. It turns C's into E's. Entire lines will be missing sometimes. It's not very helpful if you're online and you're trying to search for someone's name or for a business or for a specific town. It's going to come up with about 10, 15, 20% of what you're looking for based on the year. One of the interesting things is that after 1986, so this paper on the right is from 1987, the microfilm hadn't been used as much before it was digitized. And on this entire page, you'll see there's only really 3 things that are wrong, as opposed to most of the page being wrong on the left. So if you do any genealogy, any family history, if you're researching your house, some of your classmates, things like that, currently you can't just type in someone's name, someone's address, something like that, and have it show up that you can find every instance of them being in the paper. But on the newer papers, you can do just exactly that. You can just type in a name and it should show you most of the times that that person appeared in the paper, or, you know, a specific building, something like that. So that's because usually whenever you preserve microfilm, you keep one copy that you never really touch, and that's called your preservation copy, and then you have one access copy. What we've been making the website with previous to my coming here was with access copies. So these are copies that people had been reading day in, day out, all the time. And we didn't think that we had any preserved copies that weren't heavily used like the ones you see here. That was until in this past year, working with the Historical Society, they actually found a group of these preserved microfilms from 1921 to 1986. We haven't found them all yet. Mary Annis thinks that some of them might be at her house. She's still looking. She has looked all through the Historical Society. So we, with the Historical Society, would really like to re-scan these years and go from the paper being about 25% accurate to about 98% accurate, which you can see when you look at these scans here. This is the actual the computer reading the words off of this page, and you can see how many errors are currently on it, and then how many errors would be on it if we completely redid those years, rescanned those years. The whole entire run of the papers would cost about $10,000 to rescan. If we can find all of the microfilm, like I said, we have from the 1920s up to 1986. So we would need to find 1838 to 1921. We haven't done that yet. But we've decided with the Historical Society to just go ahead and try to rescan what we have currently, which is, like I said, 1921, 1922 to 1986. And the cost of that project is about $6,500, which is a lot. But working with the Historical Society, we had an idea to try to have people sponsor individual years. So and this is all just on our website. It's one of the first things here. So for $100, you could sponsor one of the years between 1921 and 1986. And that would come out to being right at about what we would need to have all of this rescanned. So if you say, for example, like one of the FA classes wanted to sponsor their year they graduated, they could do that, and it would go a long way towards having all of this work improved. And so far, of the $6,500 that we would need, we've raised about $2,600 of that. So we're well on our way, and we'd like to start doing the rescanning process soon. Yeah, so if you know anyone, or if you have a particular year that you would be interested in sponsoring, we would love to tell you more about the project. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I did want to talk about another project for a minute. If anyone has any questions right now, I could answer those, or I could talk about our other project real quick.
Anybody have any questions for John about this?
Checks in the mail.
Yeah. I know this sounds unusual, John, but you do have a check in the mail from the Kiwanis Club of Dover-Foxcroft to help with one of the years.
Yeah. I forgot completely that Bob and Barb
1950?
had sent me an email saying that they were sending a check. So thank you. We appreciate that. It's going to take a real uh, whole effort from the town to get this done, but it's going to be really great for genealogists, family historians, just people interested in the town's history. We get a lot of people from even out of the area who use this resource. We had a man who's from Connecticut. He lives in Hartford, and he told me a story about his dad came to Moosehead right before World War II with a bunch of his buddies, and they had all signed up, but they went for one last big guys weekend at Moosehead, and his dad had never told him anything about this, and his dad is now in his 90s, and he finally has said about this great time that him and his friends had at Moosehead Lake. And he wanted to know, do you have anything from that time period that would tell me what the lake was like? So we went into the newspapers, we got images that we could send to him because he's in Connecticut. He can't just drive up here on a whim, really. And we were able to send those to him. He showed them to his dad, and his dad was really thrilled. It brought back great memories. We have stories like that happen. I never know how many people are actually using the newspapers until it's not working. And then we get people calling to complain from, Tucson, Arizona, all over the place, people with ties to the area that try to keep those ties through these newspapers, amongst other ways. But yep.
Anyone have other questions? Great. Did you have something else you wanted to update us on, John?
Yeah, I think I talked about this the last time I was in, but we do have a really exciting project that's starting tomorrow, actually. So we have what we're calling the Read and Feed program in conjunction with Good Shepherd, the Food Bank of Maine, and the Piscataquis Regional Food Center. And this is a cartoon that I had drawn of Michelle, who works at the library, driving a little van. Um, and what it's going to be, it's basically going to be a bookmobile combined with a mobile food distribution. So Michelle's going to be driving to different parts of our town and to outlying towns and handing out books, handing out fresh local produce, kind of like what happens at Mayo, actually. I know, Dave, are you part of that distribution in any way, or?
I've been there for some of the distributions, but it's not a department that's
Okay.
will respond to.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's going to be a similar setup as that. It's going to be Wednesdays from June until about mid-September. And all of these details are on our website as well, if you're interested, or you can reach out to me. Starting tomorrow, we're going to be doing what we're calling the Monson and Dover route. So we're going to be at the Monson town office from 9 to 10:15. The corner of Morton and Autumn Avenues, kind of by the town office, from 11 to 12:30. Country Meadows on Pine Street from 1 to 2:15. Northview Apartments on Summer Street from 2:45 to 4. Thayer Parkway on Park Street from 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. And then we're going to have what we're calling the Eastern route on the opposite Wednesday. So next Wednesday, we'll be at the Charleston Church from 9 to 10:30. The Sebec Corner Grain Shop, they're at the Four Corners, from 11:30 to 1. Elaine's Bakery and Milo from 1:30 to 3. And the Sebec Reading Room in the Village in Sebec from 3:30 to 5. So we're really excited about that program as well. It's something we don't really know what it's going to be until we do it. And tomorrow's the first day. So if you can be there and you want to come check it out, that's great. If you can't, or you know someone else that would be, we'd love to help getting the word out on that as well. So
Great. Anybody have any questions for John about that? Well, listen, thank you for joining us tonight and telling us about these projects.
yeah, no problem. Thanks for listening. And like I said, if you have any questions, just reach out. Help spread the word. We'd really appreciate it. We're really excited, and we're trying to, especially with the bookmobile starting tomorrow, it's been 6 months in planning. So hopefully people show up. Hopefully it goes well.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
And I'll get this thing without blowing everybody else. Is that better? Great. Well, I'm sorry for the technical things. something happened with the speaker and the projector. It used to work quite well. Whatever was on the screen would come out through